Today, I'm going to be sharing the 3 phases of fat loss so that you know how to get through each phase effectively, what to expect so that you don't plateau and you can move on to the next stage successfully. So welcome to my channel. My name is Kate Hartley. I share a video with you every Monday about something related to menopause. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so you don't miss future episodes. So the 3 phases. The first one is a lot of people I talk to, they are actually trying to restrict their calories. They're almost stuck in this starvation zone, and all of a sudden things aren't moving. They are at an all-time low in energy, feeling bloody awful, and the scale is not budging down. Now, I have a really strong opinion on the scale. I think it's a useful tracker to a degree, but the scale is not the be-all and end-all. I suggest you focus on fat loss over weight loss. And I also suggest you work on building lean muscle, because that's going to help you reduce the fat, the excess fat on your body healthily and successfully. So the first phase you may well find yourself in is the fact that you've been restricting calories and your metabolism has just literally gone, "Argh." Our body's really, really good. When we starve ourselves or restrict ourselves a lot, essentially the body just wants to survive, so it's just going to shut down the things that aren't that important. That's why sometimes if you're restricting a lot what you eat, you'll stop having periods, because your body doesn't need you to be reproducing when it's trying to survive. And of course that's an extreme example, but the body is really, really clever. It is just focused on you surviving. It doesn't care what you look like in a bikini. It just wants you to survive. And so as you're restricting calories, your metabolism is consistently slowing down. You are also probably using up some of your muscle reserves. So that is further slowing down your metabolism. It might be that you're over-exercising too. Some of the ladies I talk to, they're doing loads of cardio, which is also contributing to their muscle wastage and raising the stress levels. Well, stress, cortisol is one of our stress hormones. As estrogen falls, cortisol rises. As cortisol rises, it also makes our insulin rise. Insulin is our fat storing hormone. But the reason why a lot of women get the belly fat gain through menopause is because we have 4 times the amount of cortisol receptors around our belly. So related to stress, if you can manage your stress effectively, your symptoms around menopause are going to significantly improve. But also remember that when you're starving yourself, that's a kind of stressor. So while you might be getting rid of some of your body fat, your visceral fat, which is the dangerous fat, and the fat around your belly is staying put, and it might even be getting worse. So it's really important that you understand that actual restriction isn't always the right way to approach it. If you're eating a mass of extra calories daily, you might be eating the cakes, the cookies, the crisps, the chips, that sort of thing, that is going to have a really detrimental impact on every aspect of your health, to be quite honest. It's going to have a negative impact on your bone density, your muscle mass. You're going to feel rubbish. You'll be setting up these addictive behaviors, and it's doing you no good at all. So really focus on eating dense, nutritionally dense foods, such as healthy fats, healthy proteins, fibre-filled carbs. Fruit is a carb, vegetables are a carb, but aim for the ones that have a sort of lower glycemic index, so they're not spiking your insulin as much. I will link at the end of it a video that I did a little while back about the science of why we get fat, and it talks in detail, and I do share a few slides actually as well to help you understand it more easily, about how when our insulin is raised in our bodies, it actually blocks the body from burning fat. So when you're eating things like the cakes and the cookies, your insulin's going up because of your raised blood sugars, and that is a situation which is stopping you from burning fat effectively. When our insulin is high, it locks the cells, so we can't actually take the fat out of the cells. So in stage 1, depending on really where your starting point is, if you are in the situation where you have a lot of weight to lose, just by making a few simple modifications, so cutting out the fast carbs, cutting out the refined carbs, so that's things like your white sugar, your white bread, your white pasta, your white rice, opt for the whole grain or the brown versions of those, and also make sure that you're eating them in the right proportion. a lot of people, yeah, for instance, we have a bowl of spaghetti bolognese, and you'll have a massive bowl of spaghetti with a small amount of bolognese on the top. The proportions of that are all completely wrong. The spaghetti should be tiny compared to the other ingredients. So if you're doing that and you love your spaghetti, what I would suggest is have a small amount of whole wheat spaghetti, but then also make sure you can use courgettes or zucchini. You can spiralize those. So I've noticed that when I eat more courgettes, I shed fat really fast. It just, my weight comes off really quickly. It's just one of those foods that seems to work really, really well. But that, in combination with a little bit of spaghetti, is going to give you more of a sense of, oh, you've got your spiralized stuff. It's a bit of fun to put on your fork, but it's going to be giving you more nutritional value with your meal. And then make sure you've got plenty of, lean, healthy mince on top with some tomatoes, and you can stick other vegetables in it as well. I always stick spinach with my bolognese sauce and I cook that. And sometimes sprouts as well. Sprouts are quite high in protein, they're really high in fibre, so they're a good vegetable to add in as well. And then you can grate some cheese on top, but make sure it's high quality cheese. You've got your healthy fats, and that's a much better proportioned meal. But the vast majority of us are eating our macros, so our carbs, fat and protein, in completely the wrong proportions. So be very mindful of that. So if you're at the upper end of having a lot of excess fat to lose, just making a few changes is you'll notice a big difference on the scale quite rapidly. Make sure you take your measurements as well. I always think measurements are a much better indicator wherever your starting point, because if you haven't got much weight to lose, but you are building lean muscle, which we're going to talk about as we get into phase 2, you might actually see the scale go up because you're building lean muscle. That's body recomposition, and really that is the healthiest way to lose fat and to regain the body that is probably what you want to regain. So rather than becoming stick thin, which is not healthy, you want to be focused on building lean muscle, burning fat effectively, but that might mean that the scale actually doesn't budge that much. I know there's some people that I've worked with who we did this incredible 80-day program together. Works very much. It's brilliant for a woman's body because it really gives you a nice booty lift and good muscle sculpting all around your body, really brings your waist in, makes your obliques really, really obvious. And people, their body composition changed enormously, but over the course of 80 days, they may just have lost something like 2 pounds because they built so much lean muscle. Their measurements went right down and they looked incredible at the end of it, and more importantly, felt incredible. So phase 1 is just, depending on what your starting point is, you're in this situation where you've sort of a bit of a ground to the halt. Your metabolism has slowed down. You're very sensitive to carbohydrates, so the more refined carbs. When people say, oh, I just need to look at a piece of cake and I put weight on, that might be you in that phase 1 period. So what you want to be doing is actually starting to eat more food that will get you into phase 2. So phase 2 is when you've started to actually eat proper food, so nutritious whole food, ideally cook from home if you can, so you know what's going into it, because food marketing labels are really, really misleading in the shops. Even though they say healthy on the front of it, generally they're not. And if there's ingredients on the back of it that you can't actually understand or read, it's not that healthy for you. So I know we're all short on time, but if your health is really valuable to you, make time to prepare food at home. It doesn't actually take that much longer, especially once you learn a few recipes that you can sort of batch cook, you can freeze them, you can maybe do a bigger meal and then have some for lunch the next day. You can achieve so much more when you know what's gone into your food, and that you're eating nutritionally dense food. So you want fats, for instance, will spike your blood sugars the least amount. Next after that is protein, and then obviously your carbs have more of an insulin response. And we always want to be focused on insulin. We really want to be improving your sensitivity to insulin and reducing the insulin resistance, because obviously when you're insulin resistant, that's when you're going to be naturally storing more fat. It's going to be really hard for you to shift fat effectively. So fats have the least amount of a response to insulin. Obviously, we can't eat too many fats, but healthy fats are good for us. You know, your avocados, your olive oils, your olives, good cheeses, good quality cheeses. Cheeses are also really high in protein. So you make sure that you're eating a wide range. Eggs are a great source of protein, healthy fats, all sorts of different things that are going to be really, really good for you. Proteins are the next macro group that they have more of an effect on insulin, but nothing like carbs. And the vast majority of us are way under eating our daily protein requirement. Most people eat about half of what they should be eating protein wise. As we go through menopause and beyond, we just find it more difficult to synthesize protein. So even if we're eating the same amount of protein as we used to eat, it's not having as much of an effect on us because our bodies just lose their ability to synthesize it as effectively as they used to do. Protein is the building block of life. Protein is really key for your muscle development. Make sure in the description box there is a link to a powerful proteins guide. Click that because it's something I put together for myself a while back when I was thinking, I realized I was way under eating on my protein too. And I honestly thought I got it nailed, and I had not. You actually have to work quite hard to eat the right amount of protein. That guide, it contains the equation in there so you can work out how much protein you should be eating. And then, you know, the most common food sources so that you can think, okay, well, if I have this, it's going to give me that many grams of protein. And then you can work out pretty much roughly what you need to be eating every single day in order to hit your protein goals. But I would look at around sort of 30 to 40 grams of protein in the morning and also in the evening, and then adding as much protein as you can throughout the course of the day. It might be that you have to supplement with a protein shake. I do have, on the days I work out, I have a protein shake after my workout. It's got the branched chain amino acids, the leucine, it's the flavine and the isoleucine, the three that we specifically need. Leucine is really, really important for muscle development. So make sure that if you're getting a protein or muscle recovery drink, that you're getting one with the 3 branched chain amino acids that you need. I mean, this doesn't look particularly delicious at the minute, but that's my daily superfood shake that contains 18 grams of protein. My muscle recovery drink has 24 grams of protein per serving. So that's a really quick and easy way for me to get extra protein in during the day. And like I say, I struggle to get all my protein in. So really focus on eating a wide range of different proteins. And then after that, you want your fibre-filled carbs. So yeah, I adore potatoes, to be quite honest. But I moderate the amount of potatoes that I eat. I also love chips, as in fish and chips. I love chippy chips, and they are my absolute weakness. And I have an air fryer, and chips cooked in the air fryer are just absolutely yummy. So it's not about not eating the stuff that you really enjoy, but it's about having it in probably smaller amounts. So like last night, I did a meal. I'd slow cook some sticky pork, shoulder steaks, and I did a mash of Brussels sprouts and a little bit of potato with a knob of really lovely butter. And that together, and sometimes I'll stick cauliflower in with that as well. And that is a really lovely mash. It's really tasty. It would have been much lower on the glycemic index count compared to just, you know, mashed potato. And it was really filling. And I did the pork with onions and mushrooms and sliced bell peppers as well. So we had loads of vegetables, but we were also hitting our protein target, and we've got healthy fats in it too. So, you know, just be mindful of understanding that you do need healthy fats, you need plenty of protein, and you want to be eating fiber-filled carbs. On the fruit scale, for instance, I mean, this shake here is a chocolate flavored protein shake. It's absolutely delicious. It's got adaptogen herbs in as well. It's got 8 adaptogen herbs. They help you manage your cortisol levels. So if you remember, cortisol is responsible largely for belly fat. And if your cortisol is not spiking, it's going to have a positive impact on your insulin as well. This does actually help you reduce your belly fat because of the adaptogen herbs in it and the protein and fiber and antioxidants and power greens and stuff. But that's got a load of berries in it too. Berries are a really good type of fruit because they're really high in fiber. They're bursting with antioxidants, and they're not going to spike your GI too much. I have also just had a banana because I was literally starving hungry, and I had that with a piece of cheese. So banana is higher on that glycemic index. because it contains more natural sugars. But bananas are really good for us. People give bananas a bad rap. People give fruit a bad rap, and it's completely wrong. We need it. They all different vegetables and fruits, they all contain slightly different combinations of things that are really, really important for us. And while my banana was not a massive one, it was a small banana, that with a lump of cheese, it was delicious. Really, really high quality cheese. So I've had plenty of fibre, I've got my antioxidants, I've got my various minerals that are important to me, I've got my adaptogen herbs, and healthy fats, so and protein, because of course high quality cheddar cheese is high in protein too, and I've got the protein in my superfood shake. So make sure it's cottage cheese, I think, and Greek yogurt are two easy ways of adding extra protein quite easily into your meal. If you eat eggs, chuck some cottage cheese into your scrambled egg mixture, or have toast with some Greek yogurt on top, and then put your egg on top of that, and then maybe serve it with some green beans or some spinach or some salad leaves. There's all sorts of ways you can get a little bit creative that actually don't take that long to do, but they'll keep you fuller for longer. And as far as hitting your macronutrients, you're going to be getting a lot closer to getting them right. So the second phase really is about making sure you're eating enough protein, because also that will help you burn more energy. Protein takes up quite a lot of energy to digest. So naturally, you're going to be burning more calories just by eating more protein. But when you combine that with strength training and a small amount of high intensity interval training, the right kind, so you're not spiking your cortisol for too long. And I would also make sure that you're doing at least one stretch and stability workout a week. That will then help you boost your metabolism. You'll have become much more sensitive to insulin, so you'll be able to metabolize blood sugars better. You'll be nourishing your body properly with what it needs, so you're reducing that stress response. And the phase 2 is really when you the cravings start to go, and you just start to sleep better, your hormones are more balanced, you just feel really good in that phase 2. Once you kick into that sort of regular routine of eating well and moving your body with intention, it really is, it's so freeing. It's just such a lovely way of living, and you almost feel like you've had a shadow that you didn't know was hanging over you that's been lifted, and all of a sudden you feel lighter, and you'll notice also your measurements will be significantly reducing. Scale might not, really depends on your starting point, but that phase 2, your metabolism now is working for you, and you're burning, you're allowed to, you're able to eat more and burn it all off much more quickly. And that is a really, really great phase to be in. In the description, there is also a link to a menopause fat loss guide. That, when you click it, it's got access to loads of free workouts for you. They're the workouts that I do and work with the ladies that I work with. And I've also got a healthy recipes guide for you. There is a menopause fat loss guide specifically in that guide as well. There is also a daily tracker for you to sort of make sure you're staying on top of things that you need to be staying on top of. And there's also a guide that I created for some of my psychotherapy clients, which is all around mindset and positive thinking, because I know as we go through menopause, mindset can be a real struggle for us. So it's a really all-inclusive guide that's completely free. So just click the link, and I hope you will find that helpful too. And then phase 3 is, this happens to me regularly, when I start a new program, my body obviously makes a few changes, because also, I mean, I've been doing workouts for years now, but when you start a new type of program, even though it's the right kind of strength training combined with the mobility and stability and the rest of recovery and the high intensity interval training, because it has a slightly different focus and your muscles having to get used to a different way of doing it, that's why I love changing up programs. I think it's so important that we keep our muscles stimulated, our brain stimulated. If you go to the gym and you do the same old stuff day in, day out, day out, it does become less effective. So when you can follow a program that has a slightly different emphasis, you will really notice the changes even faster in your body. I'm just coming to the end of a 6-week program that I've been doing recently, having lifted quite heavy weights up until this one. This is all body weight. It's a combination of like athletic yoga and primal movements. And a lot of us were thinking, oh God, I hope we don't start to lose our muscle tone because there's no weights involved at all. Our muscle tone has improved. It is just phenomenal. It's such a successful program. So if you wanted information on that, just send me a message. Just say, send me the primal flow workout. I've got the sample workout I can send to you. You can try it out. It's absolutely blooming brilliant. And I will definitely be doing this one again as well, because it's just been so effective. And if you struggle with sore joints, it's all low impact. There is a modifier to follow for easier moves, and we have just been getting the most incredible results from it. So I will definitely be doing that one again, but I'm going to probably start something else in between, just to, again, keep my muscles confused, keep my brain working. It does seem to work incredibly well. So phase 3 is when you're going along nicely, body's changing, your measurements are going down, scale might be going down, it might not be, don't worry about the scale. The number on the scale does not define your worth. And you're all of a sudden starting to think, oh, I'm getting a bit hungry again. Your body needs you to start to eat more. If it is true hunger, you need to allow your body to eat more. Now, before you think, right, okay, I'm just going to go and scoff it all, make sure that you've not slipped into slightly unhealthy treats, because it's really easy. You nearly get to your goal weight, you're feeling incredible, and just think, oh yeah, I'm just going to have that for a change. I'm going to treat myself. I've been abstaining on my favorite treat food for weeks, and now I'm going to have one of those things, and then you have one more of those things, and it's amazing how fast those naughty habits can creep back in. So be really honest with yourself. Are you still eating to feed your body like you would a racehorse? Because if you're not, it might just be that you're actually negatively impacting your insulin levels, and you're setting up this sort of chemical reaction in your body that's affecting your satiety hormone. So, when you feel hungry and how quickly you feel full. If your sleep is poor, that also really affects our ghrelin and our leptin. So again, our satiety hormones. If you've had a bad night's sleep, or if you're under a lot of stress, same thing happens. Your brain is looking for fast energy. So it's thinking, I want you to eat that fast carb, that chocolate croissant there looks absolutely delicious, or that huge slice of cake that's next to the coffee, that looks amazing, go and eat it. And that's when you really have to apply some, no way. Instead of having that, I'm going to buy an apple and maybe a piece of cheese, or a banana and a piece of cheese, or you prepare something yourself at home. By the way, sourdough bread is, because a lot of people say, oh, but it's so, if I can't eat sandwiches, what can I eat? Because obviously a lot of people have white bread with their sandwiches. And I think particularly over in the UK and the US, every meal tends to have bread around it, unless it's like an evening meal, but all the others tend to involve bread. Sourdough bread, because it's a fermented bread, and if it's a sourdough loaf baked without yeast, which essentially is a true sourdough, because I've just started baking my own sourdough. I've done 5 loaves so far, and they're absolutely delicious. But that is a fermented bread, because it's risen slowly and you're using a starter it doesn't include extra yeast. That's actually quite a healthy way of eating bread. However, you would only ever need 2 slices of that a day as well. You would not need more. So instead of bread, what you can use is something like, if I want like a sort of tuna melt at lunchtime, I'm really hungry, I just get a bell pepper. I take the center out. So it's like a round. I stick it. I probably slice it in half. Stick some tuna in it with some Greek yogurt, maybe a little apple cider vinegar or balsamic vinegar, some parsley, some coriander, some paprika. I love chili, so I stick chili on everything. And then I put some either cottage cheese on top of that, or high quality cheddar cheese. And then I will air fry that for literally 2 minutes. And it makes the most delicious, crunchy tuna melt sandwich. So you're not actually using bread at all, you're using bell peppers. But because the bell peppers are so high in fibre, they'll actually keep you fuller for longer as well. But the great thing is that you won't have that insulin spike that even healthy bread will spike your insulin higher than the bell pepper would. So you can do the same with giant mushrooms. You stuff a giant mushroom. If you have an air fryer, just get good at, or even a microwave, giant mushroom, cottage cheese, maybe some slices of tomato on top, whatever herbs and dressing you like, bung it in the microwave or the air fryer for a few minutes, and you'll have a really delicious meal. You could even stick an egg on top of that as well, and that will give you a really wholesome meal. So I think it's about getting creative about things that you can eat that don't involve bread. Another one is sweet potato. Just a sliced sweet potato, put some cottage cheese on top. You might think this is a weird mix, but I've done it with blueberries on top of the cottage cheese. I've air fried it for 5 minutes. Oh, it's delicious. But you can do it with tomatoes, you know, all sorts of different things. So it's a sort of thinnish slice of sweet potato with some cottage cheese, with some toppings, drizzle of balsamic vinegar, whatever else you feel like. Stick it in the air fryer for 5 minutes, and it is absolutely delicious, and it will keep you full for ages without spiking your insulin levels too much. So just going back to that phase 3, make sure that you're not cheating yourself. Is it true hunger? If you're sleeping badly, if you're under a lot of stress, if you're letting the treats slip in, it's probably not true hunger. The other thing to be very aware of is your water intake. Again, I always have a glass of water with me wherever I go. I've always got water. Often your body thinks you're hungry and you're not, you're just thirsty. So a great way to try that is just have a glass of water. If you're thinking you're hungry, have a glass of water, and then 10 minutes later, are you still feeling hungry? If you are, it could well be genuine hunger. And if it is genuine hunger, you need to eat, because the body's now at the stage where you've got more muscle. So you're turning over your metabolism faster, you're burning up the energy more quickly because the muscle burns more energy. It might well be that your workouts have got more challenging. So you're needing more energy to fuel your body effectively. So if it is true hunger, start to eat more. You just add in a few extra bits and see how you get on. If that were me, I mean, I always prioritize my protein. So every single day I'm eating plenty of protein, so I probably wouldn't need to up my protein. I would probably start by adding an extra portion of really fibrous vegetables. And I would use, I mean, those are fiber-filled carbs. So I'm not talking about an extra slice of toast or that sort of thing. I would go for the fiber-filled veg, and possibly also maybe, a bit more fat. I eat loads of fat. I eat more fat than technically I should do, but it seems to work well for my body. We all use our macros slightly differently. My main fat comes from nuts. I love nuts, and I eat quite a lot of cheese as well. So again, just be mindful of not comparing yourself to other people's journey, because your body will respond differently to different food groups compared to other people's. I don't have a dairy intolerance, so if you have a dairy intolerance, you're probably going to struggle with things like cottage cheese and cheddar cheese and etc. So it's important that you find something that works well for you. But I use dairy a lot for my protein sources, and of course cheese contains quite a lot of fat, unless it's the zero fat cottage cheese. Avocados are great because yes, they're quite high in fat, but they're really high in all sorts of, the fibre, vitamins, minerals. You can't really go far wrong with an avocado. However, when I'm really on with my macros, I would not have more than a quarter of a normal sized avocado a day. If it's one of the smaller ones, you can probably get away with half an avocado a day. But again, a lot of people will eat a whole avocado, and you're actually eating too much. You don't need all that. You only need really one banana a day. You don't need 2 or 3 bananas. And yes, they have some potassium in them if you're eating them for potassium, but you'd need to eat 11 normal sized bananas in order to get anywhere near your potassium requirements for the day. Eat lots of leafy green vegetables for your potassium. So I hope that's given you some guidance. It really is just a journey that you need to be mindful of. How are you feeling, and not trying to cheat yourself by allowing those bad habits to come back in, because once you are eating healthily, once you're sleeping well, once you're treating your body with the way it needs to be treated, so you're incorporating the strength training, you've got the right kind of high intensity interval training, you're doing your stability and your mobility workout. When you're combining that with eating enough protein and getting the macronutrients in balance, that is when you'll see real success, and you will feel incredible. And the beauty of that is, everybody says, oh, well, we slow down as we get older. there is no reason why any of us need to slow down as we get older. Just stay active, stay fit. You really invest in time to make sure that you are keeping yourself strong, because then you prevent the brittle bone disease, you prevent the heart disease, you significantly reduce the risk of certain cancers, you really improve the risks against Alzheimer's, developing dementia. It's so important that we look after ourselves. And the crazy thing is that it's almost like it's the fad to prioritize your own self-care. It should be an absolute given that we're all looking after ourselves and that we're allowing ourselves that time. Yeah, like I say, the workouts that I'm doing at the moment is just 20 minutes. The food does not take that long to understand. It's and you can learn it bite size. You know, if you don't need to know everything right now in order to make significant changes in your life. You know what foods are bad for you. Cut those out or reduce them significantly and get better at cooking your own stuff from home. And if you don't know how to cook, get onto YouTube. There's loads of cooking channels. There's loads of shows out there that can show you how to make really delicious meals in next to no time. So instead of sticking a film on or watching your favorite series, maybe start watching a cooking show so you can get really excited about it and you can see how you can start to do a few things at home yourself. Because to be honest, the vast majority of us, we probably rotate between 5 and 7 favorite meals most of the time. So it's not like you need to know a whole cookbook of meals either. Just have a few that you cook yourself and make sure that you're drinking enough water throughout the course of the day too. Be mindful of your drinking calories. So booze, just very quickly on booze. I love drinking. I love wine. I love beer. I love cider. I love whiskey. So I'm not against never touch alcohol. I think do it in moderation, of course, because too much booze will affect your sleep, affects your insulin, da-di-da-di-da. It does have a negative impact on your energy, 100%. And make sure that you are not drinking sodas. Sodas, as in like the fizzy pops and things, they are so high in high fructose corn syrup that essentially makes you pee out the calcium that you need in your bones to prevent brittle bone disease. High fructose corn syrup is one of the worst things that you can drink or take. So avoid the sodas, find a healthier alternative, sparkling water, maybe with some, I don't know, fruit essence in it, or find something that works for you. I'm a big fan of water, so for me it's easy. I do brew my own kombucha. Kombucha is essentially it's fermented sweet tea, but the fermentation process gets rid of that sugar that's in the tea. And I also flavour mine with fresh berries and also dates, and it is lovely. It's a trace amounts of alcohol. So when I want to go teetotal, I just make sure I've got plenty of kombucha and water, and that's what I drink. And it also, even when I'm not teetotal, I'll still have a glass of kombucha first before I pour a glass of wine, because otherwise I'd have 2 glasses of wine and it's dead easy for me to have a kombucha and then a small glass of wine afterwards. And it's a really easy way of having a product that is fermented food. The fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, they're so good for your gut health. And gut health is so important for our mental health. So yeah, if you can incorporate fermented foods into your daily eating or weekly eating, that's going to serve you even more. Some that I don't like sauerkraut, and there are some which the kimchi is just like bleh. However, you can incorporate them into meals and you can't really taste them. There's this Korean beef recipe that I make that is basically it's just sort of herbs and spices and kimchi, and the kimchi really lifts the beef recipe. You can't actually taste it, but because it's that sort of fermented vinegary salty flavor, it's absolutely lovely. So you do consider adding some more fermented foods into your meals as well, and see how you get on, because fermented foods really do promote good health. They'll help you with your energy. You know, gut health is so important for our overall ability to absorb the nutrition from the food that we're eating as well. So yeah, make sure that you have a wide understanding. You don't need to take all the steps right now, but this is just to give you an overview of what to expect through those three phases of fat loss. Focus on fat loss, not weight loss. focus on muscle building. So you want to be focusing on eating enough protein, moving your body in the right way to be building lean muscle, feeding your body correctly, like you would a racehorse, and prioritizing your sleep. You'll find you will feel so much better if you can just focus on those few things. And if you can't yet cook and you don't understand how to cook, get onto a cooking show, because there's so many out there, and get inspired. So I hope this has been helpful. If you've got any comments, leave them below, or if you want to send me a private message, you can find me on Instagram at Kate Hartley UK. It's also linked in the description box. Thank you for your company, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.